Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Groundbreaking ceremony of the ambitious Tapi pipeline in ancient Turkmenistan city of Mari. Project aims to connect energy-rich Central Asia with South Asia by 2019. President Pranab Mukherjee says debate and not disruptions should be the way ahead in Parliament. This, as Finance Minister, is set to meet Congress leaders over GST bill today. Nepal Prime Minister says his great dream of developing his country has been obstructed by the blockade at the border and the recent earthquake. India has maintained it has nothing to do with the situation. At least 23 people killed and over 70 injured in a blast at a cloth market in northwest Pakistan. Sectarian outfit claims responsibility, warns of more attacks if people are sent to take part in Syrian war. And in a historic step, Saudi Arabia elects its first female local councillors. At least 4 women have been elected in the recently concluded municipal council elections. Well, President Pranab Mukherjee has said that Parliament should function through debate and not disruptions. Delivering the keynote address in memory of former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru at Kolkata University on Sunday, the President said that there should be debate, dissent and decisions instead. The President's comments assume significance since the winter session of Parliament enters its penultimate week with crucial legislations like the GST hanging in the balance. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Arunjaitley will be holding talks with Congress leaders today over the GST bill. Jaitley said this during an event hosted by Hindi news channel Aaj Tak. Daily disruptions have been a norm in Parliament, especially the Rajya Sabha, where no business was transacted last week. The Congress protested last week since Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi were asked to appear in court in the National Herald case. The party has, however, been maintaining that the protests have nothing to do with the case. Congress leaders say that they are awaiting a revised formulation from the government. The centre says it has been provided to senior leaders in the party. There were hopes of the GST sailing through after the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh. The Congress has raised 3 main objections to the bill.
इन्होंने कहा रेवेन्यू न्यूट्रल रेट 18% हो, तो हमने जो एक्सपर्ट कमेटी बिठाई थी उन्होंने कहा नहीं जी 15% होगा। अब वो 18% की आर्गुमेंट गुल हो गई। अब कहने लगे कि नहीं 18% संविधान में लिखा हो। कभी टैरिफ्स संविधान में लिखे जाते हैं क्या? सरकार के नाते हम लोग प्रयास करते रहेंगे सबको साथ लेने का, लेकिन जिनको साथ लेना है थोड़ा नजरिया वो भी बदलें।
The question which we would like to ask the Bharatiya Janata Party, specifically the Finance Minister, was GST not a priority between 2004 and 2014? That it has suddenly become a priority in 2015? The same Bharatiya Janata Party which held the GST to ransom for all these years because of their political predilections is suddenly doing a U-turn, a somersault, a flip-flop, and trying to proclaim that the goods and services tax has become the most important thing for the economy of this country. This is humbug, chicanery, and for the lack of a better word, is hypocrisy and double standards.
On behalf of left parties, we have given a dissent note in which we have underlined the need to maintain the proper center-state relations, federal structure of our governance as far as tax system is concerned. No state should be affected. The powers of the state governments should not be undermined. At the same time, the GST Council, there is larger weightage for central government. That imbalance should be corrected. We have given, and it is for the government to come before the Rajya Sabha. Then, as left, we will consider that bill.
Well, External Affairs Minister SmritiSwaraj will make a statement in both houses of Parliament today on her 2-day visit to Pakistan and the recent developments relating to bilateral ties. Sushma tweeted saying that the statements will be made at 11 a.m. in the Rajya Sabha and at 2 p.m. in the Lok Sabha. breaking the logjam in their ties. India and Pakistan had on December 9th announced in Islamabad that they have decided to engage in a comprehensive dialogue that will include peace and security and Jammu and Kashmir. Capping a series of positive developments since Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Pakistani counterpart Nawaz Sharif met in Paris about a fortnight ago, it was announced that the foreign secretaries will meet to decide the modalities and schedule of the dialogue. The two sides came out with a joint statement which happened after Swaraj met Sharif and later his advisor on foreign affairs Sartaj Aziz on the concluding day of a two-day visit to Pakistan. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will make his maiden visit to Kerala today. He will be in Kerala for 2 days, during which he would address the Combined Commanders' Conference at INS Vikramaditya off the Kochi coast. After his arrival in Kochi, the Prime Minister will proceed to Thrissur to address a public meeting organized by the BJP state unit in the evening. On the second day of his visit on Tuesday, the Prime Minister will receive a Tri-Service Guard of Honour at INS Garuda and inaugurate the Combined Commanders Conference at INS Vikramaditya. He will later proceed to Kollam to unveil a statue of R. Shankar, former Chief Minister of Kerala, at a function organised by SNDP Yogam. There is a controversy over this function, with its organiser not inviting Chief Minister Roman Chandy. While the Congress says it is an insult, the SNDP says it is not an official function. The Congress is likely to raise the issue in Parliament. Prime Minister will be meeting the Chief Minister and his cabinet colleagues at the airport before departing for Delhi. Well, the groundbreaking Tapi gas pipeline project was inaugurated in Turkmenistan on Sunday. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and Presidents of Afghanistan and Turkmenistan together launched the project in the ancient city of Mari in Turkmenistan. The $7.6 billion pipeline project aims to connect the energy-rich Central Asia with the energy-starved South Asia by December 2019.
The transnational gas pipeline connecting Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan and India was officially kick-started on Sunday. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, joined by Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani and Turkmenistan President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, pushed a button to start the welding process of pipes. All four leaders later signed the pipe and a document which was put in a capsule and placed under the ground. Mohammad Hamid Ansari termed the project a reflection of desire to the old legacy.
This is indeed a momentous occasion. Tapi is much more than a gas pipeline project for our countries. It is a reflection of the common desire of the four member countries to reconnect themselves. Even as we celebrate the progress we have made on Tapi so far, we must be aware of the challenges that lie ahead. We must work together with resolve to ensure that negative forces inimical to the success of the project are addressed in an appropriate manner.
Pak PM Nawaz Sharif said the Tapi project will prove to be a trailblazer and open doors for similar such projects to connect Central Asia with South Asia.
This flagship project will usher in a new era and transform the lives of the millions of our people, making Tapi a symbol of shared prosperity and socio-economic development. Regional connectivity is a subject close to my heart. It is through projects such as Tapi that we can join hands in pursuing our common goal of strengthening peace and prosperity in our region.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani described it as a historic event, saying it overcomes the history of doubt and skepticism in the region.
For decades, there has been talk of this project. Today, we are showing that we are determined to make our vision a reality. Second, it's historic because it shows that Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India will be renewing ties that bound us together for several millennia, but due to the advent of the Soviet Union, were ruptured.
The landmark Tapi pipeline project will have a capacity to carry 90 million standard cubic meters of gas per day for a 30-year period. India and Pakistan would get 38 million standard cubic meters, while the remaining 14 million standard cubic meters will be supplied to Afghanistan. In all likelihood, the project will be completed by 2019.
The welding process for this ambitious pipeline between Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan and India has finally begun. But it is still a long way before the gas is finally delivered in India. With cameraman Saroj Kumar Das, Krishnanand Tripathi, Rajya TV, Mari, Turkmenistan.
Leaders from around the world praised the Paris climate deal as a major leap for mankind. Almost 200 countries signed the historic pledge to hold global temperatures to a maximum rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. But many scientists and environment groups say it may not be enough. Here's more.
A day after the climate deal was reached in Paris, Prime Minister Narendra Modi joined world leaders in welcoming the historic accord that aims to hold global temperatures to a maximum rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. In a series of tweets, Prime Minister Modi said the agreement demonstrated the collective wisdom of world leaders to mitigate climate change.
I also want to thank the people of nearly 200 nations, large and small, developed and developing, for working together to confront a threat to the people of all nations. Together we've shown what's possible when the world stands as one.
I think it's a momentous occasion, and I'm delighted that the Australian government gave me a mandate that I could deliver upon here in Paris.
When historians look back on this day, very historic day, they will say that global cooperation to secure a future safe from climate change took a dramatic U-turn here in Paris.
The agreement, partly binding legally and partly voluntary, will come into being in 2020. The measures agreed upon include achieving a balance between sources and sinks of greenhouse gases, keeping global temperature increase below 2 degrees Celsius and pursuing efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius, reviewing progress every 5 years, committing $100 billion in a year in climate finance for developing countries. Scientists and activists, however, cautioned that the measures did not go far enough.
The agreement does not put us on the path to prevent temperature rise below 2 degrees, and the actions of developed countries are far below their historical responsibilities and fair share. We have, in the spirit of compromise, agreed on a number of phrases, and the agreement is here.
Even if all the initial targets set in Paris are met, we'll only be part of the way there when it comes to reducing carbon from the atmosphere. So we cannot be complacent because of today's agreement. The problem's not solved because of this accord.
Experts say the deal will not on its own solve global warming. Rather, it will cut greenhouse gas emission by about half, as is necessary to put off an increase in atmospheric temperature of 2 degrees Celsius. And if we wait till 2020, it will be too late. However, the deal is definitely the best start to avert the most devastating effects of a warming planet. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Meanwhile, world leaders hailed the landmark climate agreement in Paris as a real success, committing both rich and poor nations to reining in rising emissions. At the same time, they acknowledged the aspects within the deal that require continued work in the future.
पेरिस में जो समझौता हुआ है, ये एक विश्व स्तरीय समझौता आगे के आने वाले वर्षों में दिशा देगा पूरे दुनिया को, कैसे हम प्रकृति की तरफ जाएं, कैसे हम पर्यावरण के मद्देनजर रखते एक पूरे विश्व में क्रांति करें, नवीकरणीय ऊर्जा से.
Das ist eine echte Weichenstellung der Welt in Richtung Energiewende, eine Weichenstellung der Welt in Richtung Vernunft im Blick auf die Veränderungen des Klimas. Das sichert und gibt die Chance, dass Milliarden von Menschen keine Angst um ihre Zukunft haben müssen, wenn die Verpflichtungen jetzt auch wirklich eingehalten werden.
We are going to have for the first time universal and robust and ambitious climate change agreement. This is the good beginning decisive turning point in our common efforts to make our lives of peoples sustainable.
首先是祝贺这个全会通过了这个协定，但是这个协定的这个并不完美，因为在会上还有一些代表团也提出了一些这个不满意的地方。
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
India's star shining in global affairs.
The professional army of any country does not have faith, piety and jihad in the name of God.
From regional power to assertive global leader.
Sri Lanka denies that these violations took place.
We want India to be a superpower. We have been doing everything for decades and we have been giving to India everything best we have.
Experts debate the nation's foreign policy.
We should not have any political preference of ours so far as Nepal is concerned.
Taliban were the creatures of Pakistan. Whatever people may say, they were created by Pakistan.
India's World with Bharat Bhushan on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said that his great dream of developing Nepal has been obstructed by the blockade at the border trade points with India and the devastating April earthquake. He said that the loss as a result of the incidents was not only physical and economic, but would have a deep social effect as well, which would take a long time to heal. Last month, Oli had said that the blockade of key border points with India is more inhuman than a war. After the devastating earthquake that claimed nearly 9,000 lives, Nepal has been trying to pick up the pieces. The blockade has meant that essential items are in short supply and business has been affected. While Nepal has blamed India for the blockade, New Delhi has said it has nothing to do with the protests by Madeshis over the constitution. Well, the government is taking wide-ranging steps to increase exports. Stating this on Sunday, Commerce Minister Nirmala Sitharaman explained that the recently announced incentives will diversify not only India's export markets but products as well. But the opposition has expressed reservations.
A 3% interest equalization scheme for exporters is what the government is betting on to boost exports. The scheme equalizes pre- and post-shipment rupee export credit. Taking retrospective effect from 1st of April 2015, it comes at a time of falling global demand. The government has set itself an export target of $900 billion by 2019-2020 and raising India's share in world exports to 3.5% from 2%.
We have given interest subvention. We want to encourage and we want to make sure that any hand-holding which is required by exporters will be done. This government will not hesitate. We have also given incentives for people who are in the manufacturing sector.
In October, India's merchandise exports fell for the 11th month in a row. Exports contracted 17.53% to $21.35 billion against $25.89 billion in October 2014. In the previous month, exports fell 24.33%. Shipments of petroleum products tumbled 57% to $2.46 billion, while iron ore sharply declined by 85.53% to $2.95 million. Engineering product shipments took a hit of 11.65% at $4.57 billion.
Downfall is quite significant. And the government is only talking, doing nothing. To increase it, at least they should have maintained the level which was at the time of UPA.
Government will have to review its economic policies. Exports are not increasing, rather they are falling, and imports are on increase, and manufacture sector showing negative growth, and agriculture is in deep crisis.
Coming at a time when China's October exports fell 6.9% year-over-year, India hopes to make its own exports more competitive in global markets. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi led parliamentarians in paying tributes to martyrs of the 2001 Parliament attack. Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha PJ Kurian, Congress President Sonia Gandhi, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, veteran BJP leader L.K. Advani, among others, paid floral tributes to the martyrs.
On Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, Congress President Sonia Gandhi and other leaders paid floral tributes to the martyrs of the Parliament attack. Family members of the martyrs were also present on the occasion. Saluting their supreme sacrifice, the leaders observed a silence in homage.
इनको स्मरण करके हमको आतंकवाद के खिलाफ जो युद्ध देश को लड़ना पड़ रहा है लगातार, उसका स्मरण होता है और उसमें जितना बलिदान देना हो उतना देने को देश तैयार रहे, यही मैं कहूँगा।
देश का सबसे जो बड़ा टेम्पल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी है, जो मंदिर है लोकतंत्र का, वो पार्लियामेंट है। उसको बचाने के लिए उन्होंने अपनी जान के कुर्बानी दी, अपनी प्राण दे दिए।
नेगी को, जो मेरा सिक्योरिटी का दिल्ली का जो होता है पुलिस का आदमी, वो मेरे साथ वो भी गाड़ी में था। उसको शाम को मैं देखने गई तो हॉस्पिटल में उसके टांग में गोली लगी। इट वाज वेरी सैड, बहुत दुख हुआ।
जिस तरह सुरक्षा कर्मियों ने रोका, उनकी याद को, उनके बलिदान को जो है हम लोग जो है उसकी सराहना करने, उसको सैल्यूट करने, उसको नतमस्तक करने यहाँ पे आते हैं।
On 13th of December 2001, at around 11:30, 5 terrorists of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, armed with AK-47 guns and hand grenades, entered the Parliament complex. There were about 100 members of Parliament in the building at that time. The attack was foiled, but not before 5 security police personnel, a woman CRPF constable, 2 members of Parliament watch and ward staff, and a gardener were martyred. All the terrorists were shot dead.
वो अपने देश से बहुत प्यार करते थे। मुझको उनसे यही सीख मिलती है कि हमेशा अपने देश से प्यार करना चाहिए, चाहे उसके लिए आपको अपनी जान की बाजी लगानी पड़े।
हमारी तरफ मतलब सर पे किया गया हाथ, लेकिन जो भी किया उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा किया।
On 9th of February 2013, Afzal Guru, who was convicted as the mastermind of the attack, was hanged in Tihar jail. This is Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on now, a bomb blast rocked Pakistan, killing at least 23 people in the town of Parachinar in northwest Pakistan's Khurram tribal area. More than 70 people were hurt in the blast. Sectarian outfit Lashkar-e-Jhangvi al-Alami has claimed responsibility for the attack. In a statement, the group warned of more attacks if the people in Parachinar did not stop sending people to take part in the Syrian war. Khurram has a history of sectarian violence, and agreements to calm tensions between the communities have not been implemented. Several Taliban-affiliated groups are also active in the region, and any one of them could have carried out the attack. Well, Saudi Arabia has elected its first female local councillors on Saturday in a historic step for a country where women are banned from driving and face routine discrimination. According to the state-run Saudi press agency, at least 4 women have been elected so far.
Results from Saturday's municipal council elections indicated that there were about 17 female winners. These included 4 in Jeddah, 1 near Mecca, home to Islam's holiest site, and others in Tabuk, Asa and Qatif. The election was the first in which women could vote and run as candidates, a landmark step in a country where women are barred from driving and are legally dependent on a male relative to approve almost all their major life decisions.
دليت بصوتي طبعا للإنسانة الكفؤ اللي تستاهل انها تكون تتميز بالشيء هذا اللي حصلت عليه، لا عن طريق قرابة أو صداقة أو أي علاقة.
I want to see the woman to be more involved in every institution, in the government and in the private sector. Okay, to be part of the planning, part of the execution, part of the performance, part of the evaluation. She has to be always there.
More than 900 women ran for seats. they were up against nearly 6,000 men competing for places on 284 councils, whose powers are restricted to local affairs, including responsibility for streets, public gardens and rubbish collection.
As a woman, I need some services, some needs in my neighborhood, like nurseries for long time. I need social centers for youth and retirement like this. So maybe the women can concentrate more than men in this needs.
The decision to allow women to take part was taken by the late King Abdullah and is seen as a major part of his legacy. In announcing the reforms, King Abdullah said women in Saudi Arabia have demonstrated positions that expressed corrective opinions and advice. Before he died in January this year, he appointed 30 women to the country's top advisory Shura Council.
يحق للمرأة أن ترشح نفسها لعضوية المجالس البلدية.
For all the excitement, Saudi women are still banned from driving and are required to cover themselves in public. They are subject to other routine restrictions, including the permission of a male guardian to leave the country. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the gates of power remain tightly closed in France. Despite a significant lead on the first round of elections, France's far-right National Front has failed to make a mark in the second round. Early results suggest Marine Le Pen's National Front has not won a single region in the second round of elections. Nicolas Sarkozy's centre-right Republicans look set to win most seats ahead of the ruling Socialists. The Republicans and centre-right allies took 57.5% of the vote in the northern region against Le Pen's 42.5%. Acknowledging defeat, FN leader Marine Le Pen pledged to keep fighting. She said the result would not discourage the party's inevitable rise and the next fight would be for the presidential elections.
Cette mobilisation en faveur de nos
Well, the countdown for the launch of 6 Singapore satellites by ISRO's Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle is expected to begin today. The launch is slated for December 16th from the spaceport of Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh. Officials said that the Singapore spacecraft are basically Earth observatory satellites with total mass weighing above 600 kilograms. This will be the last launch for ISRO this year, which had braced itself for one satellite launch every month. ISRO had last launched its latest communication satellite, GSAT-15, successfully on board Ariane space rocket from the spaceport of Kourou in French Guinea on November 11th. Well, that's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.